Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 25 of my survival Minecraft Let's Play. I am iWat and I am back. I am back after a very long hiatus and I am incredibly excited to get started again, to build some stuff, some houses, to expand our base, and that is exactly what we are going to do in this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to get started again, so can we please play the intro? Because there is such a long time between episode 24 and this episode, that means that a lot of stuff has happened in the meantime. One of the things that has happened is that there is an update for this game, which I don't think we'll check out in this video. Maybe on a later date we will. Also, I have also checked out most of the things in a different world on my own, so I already know what's in here and what the good stuff is. But there is one little thing I want to show you. However, first I want to show you something else, and that is something I kind of regret doing, but also it's like part of playing this game in my opinion. So, before I had my rather long break, I had this genius idea to build a no-block song. And that project kind of stranded in a place where it's not very good. And I have to accept that that is what it is. You know, I'm not going to work on it for now, but it will come back at a later date in a different location in our world. That's something I can guarantee you. But it got me frustrated and kind of burnt out of Minecraft, so, you know, this is not for now. And we'll kind of ignore this huge hole over here. If you are confused as to why there is a big hole here and how I did all of this work, like, all of this makes sense eventually when I make the episode about the no-block song. Anyway, let's show you the thing that I thought of that is now possible in this new update. A long time ago, I suggested a contraption that we could add to a skeleton farm that would recycle some of the non-stackable items that the skeleton farm would produce. So the idea is to use bows as fuel to smelt the gold, the iron and the chainmail armor into nuggets. And back then we ran into the problem that we could not filter out the leather armor, and then eventually it would get stuck in this slot in the furnace, and here it's completely stuck. We can't get rid of it when it's in here. Now, we can already filter out the bows from the armor by inputting it from the side, and then only the bows will enter in this slot. So whatever is in here, it doesn't matter, only bows will go in here, so we can filter those out. But, ladies and gentlemen, in this latest update, we got a new block right here, the crafter, which is essentially a crafting bench that works automatically if you power it with redstone. And I think this enables us to actually filter out the leather armor from the other ones. And the reason that works is, I think, because the skeleton farm also produces bones, and we can use that to make dye. Also using the crafter, perhaps. And you can only combine leather armor with dye. So this is a valid crafting recipe. But if you do the same thing with a different type of armor, it does not work. And this difference in behavior, I think, can be exploited to filter out the leather armor from the rest, because I think we can actually pull out whatever is in here using a hopper, right? So if we place a hopper right here and unpower it, yeah, everything gets pulled out. So we can actually use this to make this idea work. However, I think it requires a lot of time and some tinkering to actually make it work. And on top of that, I don't think I'm going to add it to this skeleton farm. Instead, I would rather do it at the place where we have a triple skeleton spawner somewhere in the world over that way. But I just wanted to let you know that this idea is now completely doable, I think. On the area that I am standing right now, the plan is to eventually make it into a city or town. However, right now there is only one house present, and I think it is time to change that. And I have a design ready for a new house right next to it, so that is what I plan on building next. But in order to do that, I think I'll have to move the villagers once more. Before we get started, I just want to comment a couple things on the style of what I want to build here. So, because we want to make a town here, I kind of want it to be visually consistent. That means that this house has to go together with the house next to it. And to achieve that, I am going to copy a lot of things that I have in this house. For example, these stone pillar things, I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to keep the oak wood framework and the white terracotta walls. And I am also going to keep the wool roof that I also have going on the windmill. So let's get started now, and I think I'll build a little bit and then show you what I've done. Alright, we start with this as a layout of the building. Even though it might not look as much right now, this is actually one of the most important and most difficult steps in trying to build a house in Minecraft. Because this basis of the house, this foundation, determines the shape that your house will have. And when trying to build something in Minecraft, shape is one of the most important things in trying to make it look good. So this determines how good it will look for a large part. As you can see, we have these stone pillars coming back and some of the oak wood framing, similar to that building as I explained earlier. The idea of this layout is to have our main entrance over here and then two back entrances, one over here and one in between those two things. And we are going to build a bar, or I'm going to try to build a bar. I have added the walls and the floor and some details to this ground floor. So as you can see, I've added some tables here and there to really make it clear that this is a bar or a restaurant or whatever. And then over here is like the actual counter that you can go behind. However, we are dealing with an ugly orange monstrosity over here. We'll deal with that in a second. I already know how I'm going to cover this. Because on the other side, on the outside, I have made like a little shrine that we have in this corner over here. I really like this, and I wanted to challenge myself to use these glazed terracotta blocks more often. And I think these shrine things are a great way of doing that. So let me first actually build the floor up here, and only at the end when we start to do the detailing we are going to cover this up. So I have added an extra floor to this building, and as you can see on this side I have decided to use more of the stone materials to make it look a little bit more bulky and more castle-ish. Whereas on the other sides I decided to stick with the white terracotta and oak wood framing. Now, one thing I would like to pay your attention to is that my walls aren't flat, and on this side it is best demonstrated. So you have, it always comes out one block. So this is one block forward, and this is one block forward even more. And over here it's also uneven because this sticks out a little bit more than all the other ones. And then over here it's also uneven. And here we have a lot of uneven, like a smooth corner almost. But I think the most changes have happened inside. I've added like a little thing on the top here. I've added more tables on the top floor here. And then over here, this is going to be like the bedroom-ish area, like the area where the people who come in the bar, cafe, restaurant thing won't be allowed here. And you can go up to another floor up here, which I am going to build next. Alright, I have added in another final floor here, and as you can see, right now from the outside it looks a little bit weird. That is because the roof is still missing. However, this right here, this like castle-ish section with like the ridges on the top, that looks really good already. But I do think that the roof is what will have to make the outside work. Because right now, especially this side, looks really messed up. But I promise you it'll look good. I already have the design ready, so I know what it looks like. Oh dear, oh dear. We need to add lighting as well, it seems. Oh dear, that would have been bad. Crisis averted, but now let's look at the interior of this new top floor. So we still have to go up here to get to the new top floor. But now we can go outside to this part, which is just a balcony thing on top of the castle-ish section. And we can also go up here with like a really spacious room actually. And then we can like circle up to the very tip of the building. But now let's actually focus on placing in the roof. The roof has been put in place, and as expected, kind of, it helps tie the building together a little bit. Especially the top floor works a lot better with the roof sitting on top of it. Now, as you can see, I have used orange wool as the roof material, and I have a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, we have this theme going on here where all the buildings that we've built so far already have a wool roof, so I just used a different color this time. And I figured I'd use orange because the shrine was already orange, so, you know, I kind of kept with that coloring for the house. And wool is, of course, a material that we can easily obtain a lot of. And if we use wool roofs, we can then put carpet on the top to prevent mobs from spawning on our roofs. And with this, I think I've shown you all the sides that we can show you from this roof. Actually, maybe from the inside of this house we can see something else. I'm actually very curious because I haven't seen this myself. Well, through this window it's kind of obstructed a little bit, so maybe on the top here we can see a little bit more. Ah yeah, actually through this window it's kind of fine actually. You can really see like the other side of the building. Anyway, with this, I think it is time to move on to the last step in building this house. And the last step is my favorite step in building anything in Minecraft really, and that is adding the details. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to do that, I think I am going to compile a montage to show you. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The house is finished. And I am extremely happy with how it turned out, because actually I think this is a really great house. I think it's better than the yellow one. And let's actually make a quick tour around the place, because maybe not everything came through in the montage time-lapse thing. So you can take in all the little details and say what you think of it in the comments down below. Right, so that was all of the outside. I added some little details here and there after I ended the time-lapse thing. For example, this bottle thing to indicate once more that this is like a cafe thing. And I love that thing above the counter here. I love that. Over here, this door, we can do some stuff right here because we have like a hole that we can go into the ground. Maybe we can eventually connect this to the underground base. That would be nice, actually. Right, and when we go upstairs, there's lots of paintings everywhere, lots of plants everywhere. Right, I don't think this chandelier is in the time-lapse. Some of the things are just really poorly visible from the angle that the time-lapse is taken from. For example, the chests, you will never see the chests in the thing. I added the armor here, really like the color. I think the color turned out perfect. Added a clock. Right. Over here, not everything was visible or seen in the time-lapse, I think. A pumpkin, which was a really interesting, like, choice for a little thing to decorate with, but I actually think it fits well here. Again, like the furnace thing with the aligned chimney on the roof. And then if we go up to the top, there's just a flower pot here and nothing too special. Right, I think with that, ladies and gentlemen, we declare this project a great success and we move on to the next project. At our underground base, this spot right here is roughly the center of everything we have built so far, right next to the storage system. That means that this area right here is actually an area where I pass by a lot, and still we are dealing with this ugly stone wall. Now, today I would like to end that and I would like to decorate this, and I already figured out what I want to build here. And the thing that I want to build here kind of extends what we have down here at the stairs. Because at the stairs we have things to measure the jump height of a horse, but in our world we don't really have a device to measure the speed of a horse. And I feel like this area is exactly where I would want to build that, because then it will be close to the jump height testing facility. As any project at the underground base starts, this one as well starts with digging out a hole. This is where we are going to build our thing. It's not going to be too big, as you can see, though I have not dug out space for the redstone, which will probably be of considerable size, I'm not sure yet. But before we do all of that, I feel like we should build an entrance to our build. And for that, I turn around because over here we have like a very nice thing with sugarcane to indicate that this is towards the sugarcane farm. And I feel like I kind of want to do something similar on this side for the horse speed tester. Alright, I have quickly designed something that should work and should kind of mirror what we have on the other side. So the idea is that in that window up there, we put a horse to demonstrate that this has something to do with horses. Now, it might not look like much right now, but this was a nightmare to design. And the reason for that is that we want to put a horse up there. And a horse requires a 2-block wide space to stand on. So that means that, you know, if you want the horse to stand up there, we need like a lot of low ceiling down here in like the doorway. And that limited me so much in what I was able to do here. But I think I figured it out for now. I have built like this first little room over here, as you can see. And I've added a button here, and that button might be a little bit confusing, but think of it as a sort of start button. So the idea for this build is that we will have a track, perhaps with cobwebs, where we will run across using our horse. And then using a pressure plate, we can measure how long that takes us to get across. And I have some fun ideas to sort of start this measurement. And in order to do those ideas, I really need a start button. Like, I want to do a measurement, please start the thing. And that's why I included this. So yeah, there we go. I have figured out the layout of this room, and as I explained earlier, we have a pressure plate over here, then a row of cobwebs and a pressure plate on the other end. And over here we have 2 fence gates, and the reason for those 2 fence gates is so we can line up our horse at the start of the measurement. And this also has to be done because of the fun things I plan on doing with this button. And this works because a horse is wider than a single block. So that means that we can't fit through this gap unless, of course, we open the fence gates, which we can do using redstone. And then we can run across the cobweb, and then we measure how long this takes using redstone. Now, all of the technical stuff that I want to build here can be hidden in the floor and the walls for the redstone. So that means that we are kind of free to design this room whatever way we want. So I feel like I'll focus on that first. Right now, it might look like I have made a lot of progress at once, and I have done a lot of things, but in reality, I've not done that much. What I've done is I've decorated the walls a little bit, and I've added the leaves in the ceiling. And for both of those things, I generally follow the same thought process. Because, for example, for walls, you can always sort of make them work by just picking a backdrop block. I often choose a colored terracotta. And then you can make the framing work by just spamming some stairs and trapdoors and just look for different arrangements until something works. And similarly, the leaves in the ceiling always follows the same structure. Yes, here and there I have added a painting to add some more decorations, simply because I am trying to use paintings a lot more in this game, because I think they look very good in a lot of circumstances, and I used to not like them very much. But actually, in this room there are 2 features that are actually 3. There are 3 features that are a bit more special. That is this chest over here, which is to sort of keep track of our timing. So when we go over this with our horse, this chest will fill with items, and then we can use the amount of items in this chest as a counter for how long we have taken to cross the cobwebs. And then there is this target thing at the end. This is just to have something to align yourself so you're always walking straight. And then there is the lamps. And those, you know what? I'm going to leave that as a surprise until the end. I have built a mock-up version of the redstone of the horse speed tester, so I can more clearly explain to you how it works. So what we have here consists of the button, that is the start button, the pressure plate at the start of the cobwebs, and the pressure plate at the end of the cobwebs. Over here, this lamp represents the row of lamps in the wall, and that obviously is the fence gate to start. Over here is the chest that keeps track of our score, and this bell is just the thing that we will ring if we have arrived. So let's first do a demonstration on how this works, and then afterwards I'll explain to you every single part of it in detail. So we press this button, the lamps go, we hear a little no block tune. And then we get ready for the race. The thing opens over there. And then we are on the cobwebs and our score is counting. And then when we cross the finish line, the bell goes and the score stops counting. Now, let's explain how every single part of this works. So over here at the beginning, not too many interesting things happen. Just the button directly powers the lights in the wall and a no-block song plays. This is just essentially a long wait to give us some time to go to the starting place. Because actually this is a very interesting part right here. Because if we press this button and we then don't go to the start of our measurement, nothing will happen. It'll get just stop. And that is because we have a thing here that checks if both the song ends and we are on this pressure plate. And that is this circuit with the 3 redstone torches over here. Also, let's turn this off. So this right here, with these 3 redstone torches, so 2 pointing into a third one, is called an AND gate. And it checks if that one is powered and that one is powered, and then it powers this one. If only one of the 2 or none of them is powered, then this will also stay unpowered. If you know something about computers, you know that this is a very important circuit. Now, if the no block song has ended and we are at the start, then we are ready to go and we open the fence gate by powering it. And if it then gets unpowered, it will close again. And also we power this piston and this moves this redstone block. And that will unpower this section of the redstone right here. And what that does is it unpowers this block right here. And over here, we have something that we've seen before. We have a thing that will loop. This is called a clock. So if we unpower this, the torch will power and then it will go through the repeater into the block, unpowering the torch, and it will keep cycling. And by pulling redstone from various points in this cycle, we can then power the droppers to keep track of our score. But of course, this can only happen if we unpower this block, because if we keep this powered, then we force this torch to be off and nothing can loop around. So essentially, we've made a clock that we can toggle by powering or unpowering this block. And of course, if we then unpower it, it will start, and we can then use the pressure plate to unpower it. And over here, this bell is a very simple thing. It's just, okay, if we cross the finish line, then this line becomes powered again. And when this gets powered, it will ding. And here we abuse the fact that if we keep the bell powered, it will not continuously ring. And with that, I think I have explained every part of this. So yeah, let's watch it in action. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to measure the speed of this horse, and once I press the button I am going to shut up because I have made a little no block tune here and I think it is just speaking for itself what everything is that is going on. So here we go. Well, now the no block tune is over, so now I feel like I can speak again. And as you can see, the lights on the wall indicate like, okay, we are doing something here. And now we finished, the bell dings, and then we can check in the chests how many coins we got to see how fast we are. So this horse gets 38. So if you are faster, of course, you'll get less of these things in the chest. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end this episode. We have done a lot of things. We've made a lot of progress in this episode. We've built an entire new house to our thing above the ground. And we've built this thing, which is really, really nice, especially the no block tune added to it. It makes it like fun to measure the speed of your horse. And yeah. That also brings me to the fact of the video, and the fact of this video is that it is impossible to sink in quicksand. So if you go into quicksand, you can get stuck, but you cannot get completely submerged in it, because at a certain point you will float. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for watching. I hope I can see you in the next episode. And as always, keep wondering. Oh my god, there's a horse in my face. Keep wondering.